78. Dear Kiddo, take my hand into darkness, complexity, careers, and catatonic car rides. It was time for a change. After leaving the never-ending circus that was the art gallery world, I knew I needed a new career, something meaningful, something intellectually stimulating, something that didn't involve selling spinny garden sculptures to tourists. Enter the Santa Fe Institute, the world's first complexity science institute. And let me tell you, they took complexity seriously. Complexity science is the study of how simple systems become complex ones, from neurons turning into consciousness to ants creating massive colonies to, presumably, why mom's emotional meltdowns seem to follow the same patterns as hurricanes. The Santa Fe Institute was a place where Nobel laureates rubbed elbows with quirky geniuses who wore socks with sandals. It was a place where no idea was too crazy and where I could listen to brilliant minds debate about alien life, the nature of consciousness, and why whales don't explode. Seriously, the scaling laws of biology were discussed over lunch like normal people talk about football scores. It was intellectual heaven. And I loved it. I loved every moment. Every day was something new. A lecture about the emergence of intelligence. A debate about the limits of artificial life. It was exhilarating. And the people were fascinating. The only problem? I wasn't getting paid nearly enough to support a family, which brought me back to square one. How was I supposed to be the provider for our family when I was making barely enough to cover my own bills? It was time to make a move. I needed something that combined my love of science and communication, but paid more than Santa Fe Institute. That's when I started looking at Los Alamos National Laboratory. I had grown up in Los Alamos, so I knew the lab was a money-printing machine. If you could get in, you were set. And I had the connections. I knew dozens, if not hundreds, of people who worked there. Scientists, engineers, administrators, you name it. Plus, the lab was just starting to ramp up its hiring of writers, editors, and communications specialists. It was perfect timing. So, I put in my application. And then, the waiting game began. While waiting to hear back, I knew I needed to step away from Mom. Her hypocrisy was driving me up the wall. She'd been criticizing me for the most mundane things, while making every excuse for her own erratic behavior. I felt suffocated, trapped in the Nanita street house, surrounded by her drama. But it wasn't just Mom. It was also my inability to connect with your older sister. I had tried, really tried, to get through to her. I took her out to lunch once, hoping we could bond. She spent the entire time staring out the window, like she was watching a particularly riveting episode of Clouds, the series. It was one of the most awkward meals of my life. I felt like I was dining with a mannequin. Car rides weren't much better. I'd pick her up from school, eager to talk and catch up, and she'd just stare out the window the entire 30-minute drive. No conversation, no connection, just awkward silence that could have been sold as a new form of torture. I started to realize that this wasn't about me. This was about Mom. Your sister had been through the emotional ringer. She'd watched Mom divorce her dad, Todd, then marry and divorce Craig, the mountain biker and skier who never stood a chance against Mom's control issues. After so many stepdads and boyfriends who were in and out of her life faster than Netflix cancellations, she had emotionally shut down. Why invest in a relationship when the man would be gone by Christmas? I couldn't blame her. Not really. But it made my life a lot harder. I was trying to keep this family together, and I was hitting a brick wall. I needed out. Not forever, but at least for a while. I needed space to breathe, and I needed that job at Los Alamos to finally get some financial stability.